Hello and welcome to my review video of the Oneleaf.ai Commander NV400. Jason from Oneleaf approached me and he asked me if he could send me this scope right here to test. And I said to him, that's fine, you go for it. I said I'm not really into affiliate marketing. I said if I think it's not that great, I will just say that on the video. And he said, no, that's fine, I'm going to send you it. 6 days later, it was on my doorstep, right here. So it's no longer in the box. I have gone out and tested this, and I'm going to let you know my thoughts. So the way this review is going to work, the same as all my other reviews, I'm going to firstly give you the price of this unit. Then I'm going to go over some of the basic features of the unit, the pros of this scope, some of the cons that I've found with this scope, who this scope fits, who's it for, and the last question is if I think you should buy it or not. And there'll be a link in the description below where you can go to buy this night vision digital scope. So let's go. So let's move this box aside. Well, quickly on the box. The box is just fine, but you don't buy a product for a nice box. Anyone can make a nice box, but everything in the box is just fine. It was all packaged nicely and cut out well, and comes with a charger and all that sort of stuff. So let's really quickly go over what comes in the box. Charging cables, and you get a charger for the battery as well, just a USB charger, all the appropriate Allen keys that you need, also a specialist tool for I believe this is for attaching the rangefinder. You get an HDMI cable in there as well, which is cool. HDMI, and you get a couple of eye cups for blocking out the light. They screw on the back of the scope. You also get another battery piece thing to make put a larger battery in there for a 65mm battery. And then of course I'll get rid of the box. We're not going to spend too much time on what comes in the box, but the box is gone, and I'll bring up the actual scope, which is right there. So this scope is just mounted on my 22 Magnum. This is a bull barrel Magnum with a suppressor, and there you can see the scope's there. So what we got on here, we got the actual NV400 scope with the rangefinder on the side there, and it's also got the Oneleaf torch as well, which is really good. It really helps, and it's a nicely made product as well. So the price without the rangefinder, but it comes with this torch, is $524 US plus shipping, and that's directly off their website. So that works out to about $844 New Zealand plus shipping, so plus another $50 or something like that. To get the rangefinder with the unit will put you $683 US plus shipping, and which works out to about 1,080 New Zealand dollars plus shipping. So there you go, there's the price. So some of the features of this scope, to be honest, it's got a lot, and I would really suggest that you go to the website and have a good look. But I'll go over some of the ones that stick out to me, and I like the features listed on the website because they're very detailed. So a lot of the Chinese manufactured products, there's details missing, or there's just things that don't quite look right, but this is not really like that. So a few of the things that I picked up, the digital zoom is 1:13 power. I don't know why it is called a 4:52 by 50. don't know why that's there, because it's not. It's 1 to 13. So what I'll do is I'll go over the features of the actual scope, then I'll talk about the camera, and then some of the componentry on the outside as well. So in terms of the actual scope, it does have reticle eyepiece adjustment, which is good, and it has parallax, which is absolutely a must, and it's a good parallax too. Everything on the scope side of things feels smooth, and the quality's great. When I go to cons, I will list some of the things that I don't think are that great, but we'll leave that for now. The rings that come with this scope are good as well. They're 30mm, and they've definitely had some design work put into them as well, so that's really neat. Another feature of the scope is, I believe it is one-piece aluminium. It is a heavy unit, 55mm objective lens up the front, and it is tested to 1100 Gs of recoil. So that's great. That's good for all your centerfires and things like that. Most holographics or red dots or most scopes are tested to about 1000 Gs. We're getting into your 50 cals, and your larger scopes are tested to 1300. So that's all good. All your temperature ratings that it can work in look great. Your waterproof rating is great. It's got heaps of adjustment inside the scope, so there's never a worry that you're going to run out of MOA adjustment inside. It's 330 MOA for windage and 150 for elevation, so heaps of adjustment. It weighs scope only just a tad over 900 grams, and it goes over 1 kilo with all the bits and pieces put on it, so it is a big unit. In terms of the camera, it's pretty impressive. So it's got a 4K 120 feet per second camera, and they also list that it's a Sony Starvis CMOS sensor, and it pulls in an impressive amount of light. It has recording on the microphone, which I'm going to show you later. You can record 4K footage inside the scope while you're shooting, and you can just talk at the scope and it should pick up. So we're going to see what that audio sounds like in that video. The rangefinder is continuous, and it gives you a continuous range, which I think is quite cool. This torch is also adjustable to run near or far, and it has 3 different brightness settings, and this is a infrared torch, so you might actually see, if I turn that on, you might just be able to see a bit of a red dot there, inside there, and this works really well. It's very cool. What I found with the sort of hardware / software side of it, I've never touched a thermal scope. I've never touched a infrared scope, but I found it pretty idiot proof. It was very easy to use. So you'll see me, I get it out on the range, and I basically bore sight this and zero it very quickly, and it tracked very well. And I just found it really easy to use. The features on it, I thought it was going to be complex and you'd almost need to get a degree to try and figure out how to use it, but it's not like that at all. So the main button on the back here is your menu, and you click through and you click up and down, and everything seems like it's well thought out about where it's all put so that you can use it quite quickly and easily. You can play back your videos in the scope as well, so it's cool. It's really neat. They sort of give the range that you can use this scope is sort of out to 400 meters or 438 yards. It depends what you were shooting. So I guess that's where we're going to touch on with kind of who this scope is made for and what it's made for. I think it has a very particular purpose. So I was shooting it out to 240 yards, and I was shooting paper targets, and I would say that's kind of, if it was large game, kind of hogs and deer and pigs, easily. I think you could shoot to 300 yards very easily with it. But I just find, I think 400 yards is just bit of a stretch, to be honest, because I haven't taken it out that far, but I could make out my box, but once you get that digital zoom going past 3 or 4 times, it gets pretty difficult to see what you're actually looking at. So yeah, but we'll get to who I believe this is made for. So let's go some of the pros. One of the pros would be it's a third of the price, a quarter of the price of a lot of other infrared or thermal imaging scopes. So I'm not going to compare it to a thermal imaging scope because that's not what this is. This is different. It's a night vision scope. So I'd say some of the pros. It's definitely, the build quality is definitely good overall. They offer a 2-year warranty with it as well. I would say the quality of just about everything is good. Another pro, I think, is the camera capabilities inside the scope. That's a really neat feature that they've got going on here. Another pro would be that it's very, very easy to use. Like I said, I've never used these kind of units before and I did not find it very difficult. One other pro that maybe gets overlooked a little bit is if you take off the cap, it comes all completely ready to go. So you take off this cap, which has really good waterproofing properties. Like, it comes with an SD card. You can charge the camera there, charge the unit there as well, and you're good to go. The battery life is really, really long. So I tend to be a little bit with electronic stuff. I don't like leaving it running, you know. You just feel like, oh, I'm going to make it go flat, but it's going to out-hunt you, basically. It's going to outshoot you. You leave it going, you're going to be done with your shooting by the time this thing's even used 10%. So that's really good. I guess another pro with the kit is everything's there. Rings, your batteries, your tooling, you don't need anything. You just bolt this baby on and you go. So that's a huge pro as well. I think the torch is a fantastic idea with the zoomable. You can make it a pencil lens or you can widen that right out. That's a brilliant idea as well. Now the cons. There are definitely some cons. One of the cons for me is the sunshade. Like, everything else is metal. Metal, plastic. And look at it. It's up there. It's really, I could see this sunshade being snapped off really, really quickly. It is very plasticky, and it's a real shame because, like, the rest of the unit feels great, but it almost feels like they kind of said, oh, in testing, it's like, oh, it actually, glitches out when there's too much light. We need to just chuck a sunshade on it. So they put this cheap plastic sunshade on there. I'm thankful the parallax doesn't turn the sunshade. That's great. So you don't have to worry about your sunshade flip up, rotation moving around. But it does, like, finish it off. It's just odd. Like, if it was, I really think that, I get it. It's hard to put a metal hinge on there and make that all metal, but aluminium, because it's expensive, but it does make it feel like you're going to break your sunshade at some point. Like, if you leave it up and you walk into something, it's going to break. So that's a bit average. I think they just didn't quite finish it off very nicely. So yeah, that's probably one of my cons there, for sure. Another con as well, and I'm going to say this as a con, but I guess they can't really do a lot about this because it's a digital scope with a digital zoom. But when you start getting out to 13 times digital zoom, the image picture is pretty ordinary. So at 100 yards, I could still see my bullet holes at the range, which I'll show you those video footage. I could still see my bullet holes at 100 yards, but past that, you're not shooting targets with it because of that zoom, digital zoom. So those are probably the two cons for me. I think these units are heavy, and that's okay. But I would say another another kind of con is it is a very, very large unit. It's very large. Like, I mean, check it out. Like, that's huge. So I can see in the design they've tried to shorten up the mounting area, but again, that creates a bit of a con because you don't, like, I guess you must, you know, if you're going to be mounting this on bases rather than a pick rail, you've pretty much only got one spot that you can actually mount this unit on. So that's gonna, I guess, is it super necessary? But it just gives away a little bit of that kind of adjustability of how mounting your eye relief correctly. And that does have a very short eye relief. So that's probably another con as well, is you're obviously not going to be putting this on a 300 Winchester Magnum or a big 30 cal hitter. But here's the other thing, you probably couldn't. The eye relief is somewhere around 45 to 70 millimeters. So it's maybe 2.5 inches. So it would be very easy to wear this scope if you were shooting it under a fairly high recoiling rifle. So I guess that's, for me, from a shooter's perspective, that's a bit of a con, because, you know, let's say I did want to mount this on a 308 Winchester, which I was wanting to do, or something like that, I would definitely be thinking twice, because I think you'll end up wearing, that scope. You definitely need some sort of a larger suppressor. So that's a bit of a con as well, the eye relief problem with the scope. It should really be 75 millimeters, 3 inches, 3.5 inches minimum. But I guess it's tricky trying to get that sight picture right inside on that screen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of the footage down at the range with this unit, and I'm also going to show you some of the footage that has been taken inside the unit, and just see what you think of that and how that all looks. G'day guys, welcome down to the range. Today I am trying out the Commander NV400. Here it is. So I've been playing around with this in the evenings for some time now, trying to get my head around it all. And I currently have this mounted on a bull barrel suppressed 22 mag. Just before I go and put it on a centerfire rifle, I wanted to test it on this first. I've just got a target out there at 20 yards and I'm going to zero it first. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the unit on, which is just 3 seconds to hold that on there. 1, 2, 3. Now I can see it lights up inside. There's a little green light on the top as well. So wait for that to boot up, and clearly straight away see my target. So I'll need to turn this on to day mode, and right now I'm zooming in using this dial up the top, and yeah, so I've zoomed nicely in. So yeah, I'm all nicely zoomed into my target. So I'm on 8 times zoom, and I'm just going to bore sight this straight away because this is the first time the scope's been on this rifle. Alright, I'm going to put a shot through and see if I'm slightly zeroed. Yep, I can see it on the paper there. So now what I do is you hold down to go into the menu, and you go down to shot 0. So you use that to click through. Go down to shot 0. So it's sitting there, and I can see it moving just like any other scope. I'm just moving it down towards the shot that I put through. Right, it's really cool. Down I go. I'm just moving down to my shot. Right, here we go. Oh, better zoom in. So I've zoomed in. Just want to get it. That's really neat. Alright, here we go. Oh my goodness. That's like bang on the money. That's impressive. That's impressive. That's from bore shot to 0 at 20 yards. So now we're going to move the target. Alright, so it's still pretty blown out because it's daylight mode. Now I'm recording on the camera. Now I'm recording on the camera in the actual unit with the audio. So what I'm going to do is I want to aim at the top of that ring. See if I can see that. It's 22 meg. It'll be pretty flat. Okay, it hit high. Higher than where I aimed. I'll just put one more shot through and actually see how this thing groups. So I have not shot this in years. Back that off a bit. Oh yeah, that's okay, it's just above it. Okay, so I'm going to back that down so you guys can get a really good visual. And back that down to all the way down to 1. There you go. And I've got another target for my other rifle set way back at 100 yards. And I'm going to move this target, the 50 yards here. That's pretty good. It's pretty cool. Starting to get a little dark, so. Okay, it is getting dark. Well and truly dark. Yeah, so I got this. Got the got the scope here, and the reason why the camera's picking anything up is because of those nice little lights there. So I'm going to have a look through and see what I can see. Okay, so now I'm recording with the scope. You can see my 100-yard target there and my 200. So I've got the parallax set for 200. And I'm pretty amazed. I can still see that red dot quite clearly from how far away I am. Which is pretty darn cool. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to pack everything else away. I might just put a shot through just for fun. And I'm going to aim, I don't know, top right corner there. It's a fair bit of wind and a fair bit of drop. So hopefully the bullets have gone into there somewhere. It's pretty cool. So if you zoom out, obviously it gets a little clearer. And I've got a few modes. That's a night mode. Okay, so there's my 200-yard target, and I'm completely zoomed out using the audio. It also, I didn't realise, it has a compass in it as well. It was telling me I'm shooting directly southwest, which is bang on accurate as well. That's correct. So what I've actually got here is I've turned the torch on, and now I've just turned it off. So you can really see I've got the torch on at 200 yards. That's the low level. And I've got it set on far away, so it's very zoomed in. But that makes a difference. So I'll zoom in on that target. Turn the torch off again. So it's definitely pixelated. Who was in mind when they made this product? And who is this product for? This product doesn't really suit me, because what I was looking for is, we've got an area of land, it's quite scrubby and bushy, and you know, it would be really great, sort of 100 to 200 yards to go through and look for game, large game to take out with this. But I don't think that's quite what this is for. I would say this is for sub 100 yard open field, open paddock, open areas that you're doing a little bit of pest control maybe. I say sub 100 yards because I do think that past 100 yards it starts to get a little bit dangerous if you were shooting past 100 yards with it, because with that digital zoom you just can't quite see properly what you're really looking at in the pitch black. If it had, I don't know how they would do this or if they could do it, if it had an optical zoom of 4, it'd be completely fine out to 200 or 300 yards on live targets. But yeah, but I would say, yeah, that's who it's made for. Someone who wants to go out, do a little bit of pest control in the pitch black. But that does beg another question is, because it's such a heavy unit, you're not going to be you're going to need another set of goggles or a monocular or something like that that's lighter, that you can look around and find your target and then get on with this. Now, like, you're not going to have any issues once you're lined up and you're shooting, because it really does pull in an amazing amount of light and work very well at night. But that's who I would say this is for: the sub 100 yard pest control, farm, open paddock sort of style predator hunting, and things like that. Targets, yeah, sure. If you want to shoot steel, you're going to struggle to shoot steel at 250 yards plus. It just gets blurry. Like I said, if they had an optical zoom in there of 2 or 3, I don't know what that would look like. That would change this product completely. But yeah. So would I buy this? Should you buy this? Well, if you're wanting to do exactly that, sub 100 yards, dark, don't want to spend heaps of money, sure, I think it's great. Personally, I would not buy this. And the reason why I say that is because if I wanted to dedicate a rig to going out after dark, I would thermal image. I think it's a lot safer, and also you can really get some good image quality, video quality. Yes, it's a lot more, it's expensive, but that's probably what I would be doing, is thermal imaging. So I guess you could have thermal imaging monocular or binoculars, and then get on target with this. So there you go, guys. That's my review, my thoughts of the Oneleaf.ai NV400. I think they've done a good job. Personally, I think it falls into a bit of a, for me, it falls into a little bit of an awkward spot in the market. I don't have a lot of just open grass country that I can go and hunt. A lot of it is kind of bushy terrain, a lot trickier than that. So this product doesn't really suit me. But I hope that was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you on the next one.